So I think that we're all guilty of believing things in the absence of evidence, and I think that's the way the human mind is wired to operate. That we don't believe things rationally, having logically thought them through. We believe things on an emotional level. So if something feels emotionally appealing, we'll probably believe it. And then if somebody comes along and points out a load of rational evidence about why your emotional preference isn't true, we don't tend to react well to that, because that isn't the reason that we've chosen to have the belief. We have the belief because we like it. So if you take something like the enduringly popular belief in learning styles, there's no empirical validation of that as a theory, and yet so many teachers appear to like it. And I think that the kernel of truth is that there's no doubt that we have preferences for how we learn. My personal preference is to learn with a cup of espresso coffee and a small piece of dark chocolate. And that's how I prefer to do it. But obviously, I'm more than capable of learning without those things. There's a preferred style for communicating different kinds of content. So if I wanted you to understand, for instance, if I wanted you to know what Africa looked like, you would learn that best if I showed you a picture. Mm-hmm. Nobody would learn that best by having me read out a description of the coastline. And so I think if you represent the faulty beliefs in a way which is appealing and makes intuitive sense, then I think we can do quite a bit to combat where they're coming from. I think learning is an evolutionary adaptation where it's what makes us human, the fact that we find learning fairly straightforward. But the one of the things that I think is really fascinating or a really useful lens to think about learning through is that provided by evolutionary psychology, and the finding of David Geary that there are two types of things that we learn. There are things that he calls biologically primary adaptations, things that we seem to have an innate capacity to find very easy to learn, such as speech. And then there are biologically secondary modules which we can rewire our brains to acquire, but that it isn't easy or straightforward. And I think that explains some of the wrong thinking that we've developed over the years, so that there's this belief that because the way children learn to walk and talk is so effortless and natural and beautiful, then wouldn't it be great if we taught mathematics that way? We just put them out into a field and got them counting cows or whatever. And it's a lovely, seductive idea, but mathematics is something which is abstract, that it's not something that we've evolved to find easy to learn because it's too recent. Evolution hasn't caught up with multiplying negative numbers. And so it's something that requires careful, patient instruction. I'm really looking forward to coming to Amsterdam, and I'm really looking forward to meeting people like Stellan Olsen and Anders Ericsson, and I think it will be a fantastic conference. I'm very privileged and humbled to have been asked to take part. Thank you.